Meet Wilson Jones. He and his brother are sixth-generation lumbermen, owners of Mackey's Ferry Sawmill in North Carolina, and they both voted for Donald Trump all three times. And because of the Trump tariffs, they had to shut down their family business of almost 40 years and lay off 50 workers. Now, whenever stories like this come out, there's only one question I wish reporters would ask. Knowing what you know now, would you still vote for Donald Trump again? And this time they did. Watch.
Do you have any regrets about voting for him?
There are some things I regret about voting for President Trump. Yes, 100%. Trade policy is one of them, even though that I wish he could have moderated his tone. Well, I understand you have to do one thing to get elected and then something else, but I wish it hadn't have turned out that way. That being said, given the two people running, regardless of what they said on the campaign trail, I would have voted for President Trump again.
I don't necessarily have regrets. I mean, it came out that that's what he was going to fight for. And knowingly that would affect us probably, because the only place to really ship a volume of lumber was either Vietnam or China. And so it's going to affect us. But I don't, outside of not voting, I don't think I had a choice to vote any other direction.
And this is why I roll my eyes when people say that Kamala Harris didn't connect with the working class, because the working class is literally out here saying that they would vote for Trump again after losing everything because of him. At some point, folks need to accept that the issue wasn't Kamala's message. The issue is who certain people are willing to hear it from. And that's a conversation a lot of people aren't ready to have.
Hey, now that the MAGA movement is dead, I just have a couple of questions for MAGA voters. How does it feel to see everything crumble around you? We've been telling you for years that you're all fucking useless. How does it feel to finally realize how useless you truly are? Your own fucking people have abandoned you. Like the MAGA movement abandoned MAGA. I don't pity any of you. I hope you all have the worst day ever.
How did you decide to look into the lumber business in North Carolina? What got you interested in this?
Ever since President Trump started talking about tariffs, really on the campaign trail and after he took office in January, I've been thinking a lot about the impact and consequences of tariffs on the economy. I kind of ran across this letter by a guy called Winston Jones, who talked at length about his family business, which had a history going back to the 1880s, and how, as a consequence of the tariffs, he'd been forced to make the hard decision to shut this mill down. Trump did not intend to cause the shutdown of a sawmill in North Carolina when he imposed these tariffs on China. He was trying to rebalance an economic relationship. In his mind, these tariffs are going to help bring back manufacturing jobs, and so on. But the story of tariffs through history has always been that they lead to retaliation and unintended consequences. And Wilson Jones at one point said, those were the kind of last 5 nails in the coffin of the Mackey's Ferry Sawmill. We had all these other issues to deal with, but we were kind of finding a way. And then these tariffs just took us over the edge. And it was almost a plea for someone to tell his story.
All right, listen to this, because honestly, it sounds like the setup of a documentary. A North Carolina man named Wilson Jones, a lifelong small-town guy, voted for the orange man not once, not twice, but 3 times. He believed the talk about bringing American jobs back, protecting U.S. industries, and standing up to China, the whole package. Those same tariffs ended up wiping out his family's generation-old lumber business. We are talking about decades of work, a cornerstone of the town, gone almost overnight after China, the biggest customer, shut the door because of the trade war. Orders vanished, revenue tanked, and Wilson had to do the one thing that no family business owner ever wants to do: shut it all down. Now he's looking at empty mills, telling reporters he regrets his vote because the policies he supported ended up bankrupting the very business he was trying to protect. Yeah, it's one of those stories, and today we are breaking down exactly how it happened and what it says about America right now. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit that like button. Let's take a look.
In another edition of As the White Hood Turns, subsection people who voted for syphilitic Sid now losing their business. Let's talk about Wilson Jones of North Carolina. Wilson and his family owned a lumber mill for 5 generations. So I take 5 generations to be at least 100 years, right? Right? At least 100. Well, he's a syphilitic Sid voter times. And now he's having to close his lumber mill. Listen, I love a good MAGA fuck around and find out. I do. I love it. I love it for them. But this is all I'm going to say in this video. At the end of the interview, they asked Wilson, given everything that you know, would you vote for syphilitic Sid again? And Wilson said, I don't know. Probably. That's it. That's the video. I have no sympathy, empathy, none of that for Wilson. Wilson! I got nothing for you. You just out there. Cause you about to lose your whole lumber mill. And you had the nerve to say that if given the opportunity, probably you would vote for the person that's causing you to lose your heritage and your children's inheritance and your grandchildren. Wilson, I hate to say this, but you deserve whatever happens to you from this day forward. Oh, okay. Okay, bye.
Sawmill in North Carolina.
Let's get over the fact. Let's quit being nice and be fucking for real. They just didn't want a woman to be president. And her being biracial and black presenting does not fucking help at all. And the fact that after your business, your family business of 40 years that went in the shitter, you're the 6th generation of lumber, whatever, you would still vote for this man? The hatred for not only non-whites, but for women is real. And people really need to wake the fuck up because this is ridiculous. You had to let not only yourself and your brother let go of your business, but 50 people are unemployed. And you would still vote for that tangerine flavored bastard. Okay.
If you feel hopeless right now, I'm here to say some Trump supporters are actually regretting their votes. Estimates as high as 1 in 4 people who voted for Trump regret their votes. And on anonymous forums like Reddit, people have poured out their feelings about how much they regret voting for him. People like farmers who have been upset that they're not getting support and money is going to Argentina instead of them. Young voters who feel manipulated by the MAGA movement. And centrists who aren't necessarily committed to a political party have all expressed serious remorse over their vote. The fact that people are admitting that they're not happy with the election and the way things have been with Trump is a serious step in the right direction. As you know, in most cults, people who speak out against the leader are seriously punished. They're ostracized and experience a lot of hostility, which typically prevents them from speaking out in the first place. So although it may feel hopeless and like fascism has been descending upon us for a few years, there actually is a sign of some progress. That's why it's so important to have conversations with these people. If you're a white person and you have family who are Trump supporters, this is a really good time to try to get through to them, especially because a lot of Republicans want the Epstein files to be released, which could be used as a way to find common ground with them and convince them to not be MAGA anymore. Still have a long way to go, but the fact that his approval rating is dropping is a serious sign of good news.
So here's where this story gets bigger than just one man or one business. Wilson Jones isn't the only person we've seen over the last few years who backed the MAGA movement because they genuinely believed it protected American jobs, especially blue-collar, small-town, family-run industries. A lot of folks in manufacturing, agriculture, timber, trucking, furniture, all those sectors that build middle-class America voted for the orange man because the message was simple: I'm going to bring your jobs back. But the reality is many of the policies that were supposed to protect them actually ended up hitting their own communities the hardest. Tariffs didn't just hurt foreign companies, they triggered retaliation that wiped out big export markets for US farmers, lumber mills, and manufacturers. And when countries like China slammed the door shut on American wood, soybean, and other exports, it wasn't Wall Street that felt it. It was like Wilson's in North Carolina. That's the story. This keep popping up where people look back and say, wait, did I vote against my own economic interest? And honestly, it's not about shaming or blaming anyone. A lot of these voters acted on promise they thought would actually help their families. But when the policies actually played out in real time, the consequences weren't abstract. They were payrolls, shipment, and bank accounts, entire family histories. So this story isn't just about one man regretting one vote. It's part of a bigger pattern in America where political branding and economic reality don't always line up. And the people who ended up paying the price are the same people politicians claim to be fighting for.